The next category is the most remarkable infrastructure project of the last 50 years, and it's sponsored by Invensys. And could Pete Duggan, Chief Engineer, please come forward to present the trophy? Right, we sort of go through this in a series of decades. So we start with the 1960s, which of course we've already mentioned is the West Coast electrification, London, Manchester, Liverpool. I've already mentioned the impact of the modernisation, and it was what we would call total route modernisation, 25 kV electrification, a very brave decision at the time. Only the French had done it, and we did it better, with closer clearances to keep the cost down. Then there was new signalling, new traction, new EMUs, new stations. It was a technical tour de force and then a commercial triumph. We all talk about the Sparks effect for the effect of a new railway. The Sparks effect was born with the West Coast modernisation first time round. The next decade, which was when I came in to write for Modern Railways, the 70s, there was the modernisation was the Great Western. It was, we always think of the train that was typical of it, the HST, but we mustn't forget the infrastructure work under another great engineer and Modern Railways reader, Philip Rees. That was to maximise 125 mile an hour running on billiard table smooth track. It was a true racing ground to start with, as designed and built originally by Brunel. But Phil Rees and his boys eased curves, moved track across, and made possible this mile upon mile of 125. And then in the 80s, it was East Coast outside turn for modernisation. It was the mega project of the decade, and it was another total route modernisation. Electrification, re-signalling, new trains, we've already mentioned the Class 91, delivered on time and to budget by British Rail. Privatisation meant that the 1990s, which should have seen the return to the West Coast, was a blank domestically. We didn't do big projects in the 90s. Instead, we had completion of the Channel Tunnel, which we now take for granted. And it's interesting to remember that the Channel Tunnel was written off, and then Sir Peter Parker very cleverly suggested that we tried a small single-bore tunnel. It was derided as the mouse hole, but it got the idea going, and today, Europe's at our doorstep almost. And then the noughties, as they call them, the 2000s, which witnessed the opening of the first purpose-built high-speed line in the UK, High Speed 1. This complemented the Channel Tunnel and made journeys beyond Paris and Belgium a reality. And as part of the financial engineering under John Prescott to keep it funded, we got the domestic service, which covered itself with glory under the Javelin brand at the recent Olympics. And the most remarkable infrastructure project of the past 50 years is the Channel Tunnel.